Tonight's movie brought to you by the real refreshment of Coca-Cola. You know you want it.
Ten's Late News with Tracey Spicer.
Tonight, a mixed blessing from the wind, protecting some towns from bushfires but threatening others. A dust blast being blamed for the destruction of a country factory. And millions of Australians shrug off their cares to celebrate Australia Day. Good evening. First tonight, the bushfire crisis. The nation has spent Australia Day ablaze as fires raged across 5 states, destroying property and forcing dozens of evacuations. The situation is still critical in Victoria's high country, where a southerly change could turn fires in the alpine districts onto one another, forming a fire front well over 100 kilometres long. At least 16 homes have now been destroyed in the Victorian Alps, and fire crews are mounting yet another all-night vigil around ski resorts cut off by the advancing flames. Northeastern Victoria is facing the biggest and most immediate threat. Hundreds of fire crews are on standby, ready for the worst, which could come at any time. 2 huge fires are moving south and threatening to join up into a massive fire front 120 kilometres long. Under immediate threat are ski villages in the Alpine region, where at least 10 houses are believed to have been razed and several other properties damaged. One fire roared through the town of Dartmouth late this afternoon, singeing livestock and blistering paint, but no properties were lost. A reprieve for the evacuated town of Omeo. Cool southerly winds tonight forcing the blaze back on itself.
In Omeo itself, it's been largely protected tonight. Firefighters have done a great job, but there is unconfirmed reports of at least 1 house lost. In a township called Kabungra, 16 houses were on fire at one point. 10 of them were saved, but 6 houses have been lost. And in Swiss Creek, as we speak, it's raining embers, so the fingers crossed for the people there.
Dense smoke and the drought are making conditions difficult for the Sky Crane and other water-bombing aircraft. Pilots are finding it hard to pinpoint where to drop water, and because of the drought, they often have to fly long distances to top up. The Victorian blazes are threatening to cross the border into New South Wales, where fires have already broken containment lines.
Almost all of the fires in the southeast corner of the state have broken their containment lines or are in the process of doing so.
With the Snowy Mountains fires flaring anew, roadblocks were set up as flames roared up mountainsides, again forcing the evacuation of all but essential personnel from the towns of Thredbo, Guthaga and Perisher. The smoke casting an eerie orange light, completely hiding Lake Jindabyne. About 80 fires are still burning across New South Wales. In the west, strong winds are pushing a fire towards a housing estate in the fishing town of Ledge Point, north of Perth. A spokesman says communications are patchy and it's hard to confirm reports the estate has been evacuated. In Tasmania, the most serious fire remains the one at Broadmarsh, north of Hobart, but it's not threatening property at present. While much of Australia burns, North Queensland is being drowned. More than 300 millimetres or 12 inches of rain have been recorded in the past 24 hours, cutting the main rail line between Townsville and Cairns. The Bruce Highway at Gordon Vale is also closed. Flood warnings have been issued for the Mulgrave and Russell rivers. Volunteer firefighters received high praise as more than 600 people were added to the Australia Day Honours list. The Prime Minister also paid tribute to the Australian character in testing times.
The Bali tragedy and our continuing bushfire crisis singled out by the Prime Minister as defining what it is to be Australian.
The great capacity of all Australians at a time of challenge and trial to deliver the best of themselves and to help their fellow Australians through difficult times.
That going the extra yard and recognising that we're not just individuals, we are part of a community.
Former national cricket captain Mark Taylor among the 604 to make the Australia Day honours list, an officer of the Order of Australia for services to cricket and fundraising for cancer research, raising cash for cancer, also earning recognition for Adelaide fishmonger Michael Angelakis.
In understanding what I went through with my own adventure with cancer and fighting that for 2 years, I knew what pain was.
Contentious High Court appointee Justice Ian Callanan, one of 4 to receive the top gong, Companion of the Order of Australia, the government's advisor on drugs, Major Brian Waters, another to be decorated.
Surprised, honoured. I'm a fiercely patriotic Australian.
Evelyn Scott buoyed by the acknowledgement of her work to highlight the plight of Indigenous women.
It has an impact on what you say and do in the future.
Also honoured veteran actor Gary McDonald as an entertainer and mental health advocate. Darren Roberts, 10 News.
Australians turned out in their millions to celebrate the National Day. With our troops now overseas, many celebrations featured military themes.
Servicemen and women formed the centrepiece of parades throughout capital cities. With the traumatic 2002 still fresh in memories and a possible war with Iraq looming, national sentiment was soaring.
With the Bali issues last year and so on, it's just great to come together and be part of it on this day.
It's a great day for Melbourne, a great day for Australia, I always think, Australia Day.
Flag-raising ceremonies and national anthems were felt with pride. Patriotism ran strong through the heart of Adelaide. So did a giant peloton and celebrations of multiculturalism. A bizarre Australia Day event at Port Lincoln with the annual tuna tossing competition. Champion Darren Billett won for the 4th time, hurling a tuna nearly 27 metres. Not to be outdone, Brisbane staged traditional cockroach races before its leaders recognised Indigenous Australians through music and dance. A similar theme in Sydney, where nearby water sports held centre stage for much of the day. Citizenship ceremonies were not the only places to find new Australians. Hospital wards around the country welcomed our youngest citizens. Belinda Ramadan's daughter was due a week ago but was late and now shares her birthday with the nation.
I'm pretty excited, overwhelmed. It means a lot. She's like an Australian already. Like she's of course an Australian citizen, but it means a little bit more special.
Paul Kennedy, 10 News.
One thing has been missing from Australia Day celebrations in most capital cities this year: firework displays. But Brisbane and Perth went ahead with their shows. They've not been troubled by the searing temperatures and high winds that prompted total fire bans and forced the cancellation of planned displays. Melbourne and Sydney called off their spectaculars in deference to the thousands of firefighters still battling to protect property from raging bushfires. Still ahead in 10's late news, a dust blast blamed for a multi-million-dollar factory explosion. Australia's country music stars come out to play in Tamworth. And the special significance of Australia Day for one great-great-grandmother.
This program proudly brought to you by Grosby Back to School. Great shoes at great prices. And White King.
Flanders has lost the plot, and he's going to need some intense shock therapy.
Is there any person who makes you particularly angry? Homer, can you be that annoying?
The Simpsons at 7:30. Then at 8. In every meeting, there's always one annoying distraction.
Let it ring.
What if it's a medical emergency?
The stupid machine will get it. My name is Linda.
Becca following The Simpsons, Monday on 10.
Catherine Zeta-Jones, Renee Zellweger, and Richard Gere.
That jazz.
Chicago.
Attention! I just got this Suzuki Ignis 16990 drive away!
For a deal you'll want to tell the world about, get into Suzuki's mega summer clearance.
It's you, it's me, it's Suzuki.
Whoa,
What would you do if you won 1 million cans of Jim Beam and Cola?
I'd want to share it with the people, put something back into the community. I think that's the only responsible thing to do.
It's the big white can that makes dreams stay true.
Fast forward to win $50,000 cash only at Network Video. Grab the movie of the week and a vanilla Coke over the 8 weeks of summer and you're in to win. Win $50,000 cash only at Network Video now.
What makes praise so creamy?
It's swirly. Dorothy, P-R-A-I-S-E. It's tasty, creamy. Praise creamy mayonnaise.
Miss out on the true blue bargains at Super Cheap Autos one-day Australia Day sale, and it'll be downright un-Australian. You'll get the lot for less. For tomorrow only, cop an earful from this CD player, just $99. Strike a rechargeable spotlight, $12.99. Slip in for 5 litres of Valvoline oil, only $11.99. Chill out with 5 litres of engine coolant for $2.99, and cover up with a fitted car cover, 25% off. You'll get the lot for less. Tomorrow only.
You're watching 10's Lake News. A big clean-up today after a massive factory explosion rocked the town of Gunnedah in the northwest of New South Wales. The force of the blast so great it demolished the building and damaged dozens of nearby homes.
Rocked by a massive explosion, a factory blasted and ablaze. O operators inundated with calls from panicked residents fearing a bomb attack around 7:30 last night. Emergency crews warned to expect dozens of fatalities and shift workers trapped inside.
They found 3 extremely large buildings totally destroyed by the explosion, a severely burning fire.
Daylight shows the devastation, early estimates of up to $15 million damage to the dog food factory and several adjoining warehouses. Nearby homes also copping the full force, windows blown out, roofs ripped to shreds. Witnesses miles away also bearing the brunt of the explosion.
I just seen an almighty big round fireball, and I reckon it must have went a couple of 100 feet in the air, and then the loud explosion.
Very loud bang. All the lights went out. The plaster, or some of the plaster, fell from the ceiling, and that's a fair way away from here.
Immediately I looked to the right, and there was a huge pool of black smoke. I mean, that must have risen from the explosion within seconds.
I thought a plane had hit the house.
No one was killed. The factory closed for the long weekend. Fire investigators believe a spark ignited highly combustible dust that was spread throughout the 4-storey high factory.
And in my time that I've spent in the country, I've never seen devastation caused by such an explosion.
Now suffering drought conditions after floods in 2000, the local economy also battered after the closure of 3 mines and an abattoir. Now this.
That's 35 or 40 families that have been that will be affected by this, and the flow on will be to other businesses in Gunnedah too, I'm sure.
The slow process of repairing the extensive damage underway. The community will consider an appeal for disaster relief from the New South Wales Government. Evan Batten, 10 News.
Hundreds of holidaymakers put at risk on the Gold Coast today thanks to a group of mindless vandals. Overnight, thieves broke into a life-saving storage shed at the beach, stealing valuable equipment including rescue boards. A $10,000 defibrillator also smashed, then dumped in a nearby park. The doors to the shed so badly damaged, lifesavers couldn't reach other vital gear needed to protect holidaymakers.
We really depend on that equipment, particularly the jet skis and the quad bikes and the paddle boards. We can't live without it. So to not have that equipment this morning was really bad and putting people's lives at risk.
Lifesavers say the theft and vandalism of rescue equipment has become a major problem. Our country music stars came out to play on the industry's Night of Nights. Some big names walking away with the coveted golden guitar.
Tamworth turned on the red carpet glamour like the best of them for the cream of Australia's country music talent. More than 4,000 fans packed the Tamworth Entertainment Centre for this year's awards, and there were plenty of surprises to keep them happy, including a Golden Guitar Winner of the Decade award for Casey Chambers.
Thank you very much for helping me pay my rent over the last decade.
Not so surprising, we're seeing Slim Dusty grab a golden guitar for Bush Ballad of the Year, taking his overall haul to 36. But there were a couple of young blokes taking home the top awards. Troy Cassar-Daley scoring Album of the Year, Male Vocalist of the Year and Vocal Collaboration of the Year for his duet with Paul Kelly.
I never ever got a hat-trick in cricket as a kid, so it's nice to sort of have something come home for me.
Not far behind was Lee Kernaghan, who took out Album of the Year and Top-Selling Album of the Year for Electric Rodeo.
You know what, Ange? I reckon this year it means as much to me tonight to win these 2 awards as what it did the very first time I came here and won my first gold guitar for Boys from the Bush.
Female Vocalist of the Year, Melinda Schneider, certainly looked the part. A fashion designer as well as a singer-songwriter, she combined all of her talents on the night. Angela Bishop reporting from Tamworth for 10 News. Now to a once-in-a-lifetime Australia Day experience. The West Australian great-great-grandmother who's also celebrating her 100th birthday.
Betsy Thorne was born in England a century ago today, but she's an Aussie through and through.
Yeah. Make me proud, you know. Yeah, I'll see me days out there.
She says she earned her green and gold stripes battling it out with group settlers on a bush block near Margaret River during the 1920s. And she still hasn't forgotten standing with a babe in arms as her young husband Arthur told his newly arrived bride some home truths.
There was a tin shed and we pulled up outside and I said, "Is that where you keep the horses?" He said, "No, that's where I'm going to keep you."
They'd have to have kerosene tins of water to wash their legs to get the fleas off before they could get into bed. That was Mum's welcome to Margaret River.
But unlike many group settlers, they made a go of it. And today, scores of friends, relatives and almost 50 of her direct descendants celebrated a once-in-a-lifetime Australia Day.
Happy birthday to you.
While Betsy's cherishing best wishes from the Queen, the Prime Minister and the Premier, there's one that's especially close to her Aussie heart. A card and kisses from the West Coast Eagles.
And I haven't washed my face this morning because I didn't want to take the kisses off.
Nick Way, 10 News.
And when 10's Late News continues, Washington claims growing support for its stand against Saddam Hussein. Terror on the London Underground as a train leaves the rails. Then in sports tonight, Andre Agassi after Leighton Hewitt's world #1 crown after winning the Australian Open.
He's a rich man who's given others a million reasons to hate him.
He always threatened me with money.
Now his only child is dead.
He was my son.
Has someone found the perfect revenge? Law and Order at 8:30. Then at 9:30.
Oh, man, get us out of here, man!
She's Detective Harriet Walker. When it comes to fighting crime, she's strictly hands-on.
I think you're getting the hang of this, Harriet.
So keep your hands off. White Collar Blue, following Law and Order, Monday.
You're not my type. Find the Minority Report.
Run into second for your free gift when you buy Minority Report on DVD.
I have a warrant in my pocket that says murder.
He set me up! Packed with extras, this limited edition 2-disc DVD comes with a free Minority Report cap. All for only $34.99. Only at Sanity, the ultimate destination for DVD and CD.
Can you see?
Your free gift when you buy Minority Report on DVD.
It is perfect.
Only at Sanity, out now.
Looking along our timeline axis, we can see from the quintile that the groupings of the data suggest that the production rates of both streams are merging. Clearly this will result in a diminishing yield over the long term, even though the short-term projections look healthy. Even after I ran some extensive statistical modelling over the last 12 months, the long-term projections look negative.
Kentucky Great Keppel Island packages. Call Flight Centre on 131 600 from only $96 a day, including accommodation, brunch and dinner.
John Coots Furniture's dining sale is now on. The Emerson is only $6.99, the Astana 9-piece an amazing $9.99, the 7-piece Monza just $10.99, and his classic 9-piece extension suite an incredible $16.99.
But only at John Coots Furniture, Maryland's Penrith and Tuggerah.
What makes praise so creamy?
It's swirly. Dorothy, P-R-A-I-S-E. It's tasty, creamy. Praise creamy mayonnaise.
To win Fox FM's Perfect Man competition, you need it all. Personality, sense of humour, good head of hair. Fortunately, Julian saw Advanced Hair Studio, or the perfect man may have been not so perfect. Call 1-800-800-500 now.
Rock's brightest hope is Pacifier. Pacifier, the new album, in store now.
Australia's role in the build-up to another Middle East war was highlighted again today as the USS Fletcher left Fremantle for the Persian Gulf. The destroyer and her 350-strong crew are part of the American Navy's controversial Sea Swap program, where US ships are re-crewed in foreign ports. A new crew flew into WA from California last week, relieving sailors who'd just spent 6 months in the Gulf. Opponents of the program claim it makes Perth and Fremantle prime targets for terrorists. Only 2 days before weapons inspectors are due to report to the UN Security Council, Washington claims at least a dozen countries will back an attack on Iraq, even if it's launched without the world body's support.
US Secretary of State Colin Powell was talking tough about Iraq, again accusing Saddam Hussein of hiding weapons of mass destruction.
We are missing biological agents. We are missing chemical agents. We are missing weapons of delivery. We are missing chemical shells that the Iraqis had.
Foreign Minister Alexander Downer met with Secretary Powell at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland. Powell also had a long discussion with Turkey's leader Abdullah Gül. Turkish bases may be used to launch an attack on Baghdad.
The burden is on Iraq. Iraq must comply, or it will be made to comply with military force.
US Central Command Chief General Tommy Franks is the man tipped to lead the campaign. It may include as many as 1,500 bombing runs per day. But there's growing pressure from many European nations to give the UN weapons inspectors a few more weeks to complete their work. This compromise may suit the Americans, who aren't expected to be ready for war until late February or early March. Weapons inspectors visited several sites today, just 2 days before their report is delivered to the UN Security Council. Anti-war demonstrators gathered in London, where self-proclaimed human shields, including Australians, boarded a bus for Baghdad in their bid to stop any war. They're led by Gulf War veteran, former US Marine Ken Nichols.
It could launch us into World War III, so yeah, I don't know how much more urgent it could be.
Michelle Stone, in the United States, 10 News.
And 2 breaches of security at the UN Weapons Inspector's headquarters. A man trying to enter the compound through the main gate was detained by security guards after a struggle. They found 3 knives concealed on his body and he was turned over to Iraqi authorities. In a separate incident, an apparently disturbed man jumped into one of the inspectors' cars as they left the compound. The man was eventually detained. At least 12 Palestinians have been killed and another 50 injured during a major push into Gaza City by the Israeli military. Running gun battles flared as army units drove deep into Gaza. Dozens of armoured vehicles backed by missile-firing helicopters struck a stronghold of the militant Hamas group, blamed for recent attacks on Israeli civilians. Tube terror for London commuters. 30 people injured when a crowded underground train left the tracks and crashed into a wall.
For at least some of the passengers who'd been on the train, the experience was terrifying. Emergency services helping those who described carriages shaking, windows shattering and doors ripped open. People reaching the surface after fighting their way out through thick clouds of dust like smoke.
We came out of the tunnel and it just started bumping, and then we could hear the driver going, "Mayday, Mayday, everybody get off." And then it just filled with smoke.
The doors sprung open on the actual rail side, not on the actual platform side. 1 or 2 people did panic a bit there because they almost fell out.
The crowded Central Line train was just coming into Chancery Lane station when the rear 3 carriages left the tracks. The tunnel walls kept them from twisting sideways or turning over. Police leaving the scene ruled out terrorism or crime. That makes the most likely cause a train or track fault. The RMT union says this emergency may have been caused by a motor falling off the train, derailing it. They say there's a design problem which has derailed a train before, but tube managers say it's too early to tell.
I'll be back with the latest on the national weather shortly. Then Ryan Phelan joins us with Sports Tonight.
Thanks, Tracey. Coming up, an anxious wait for injured Australian batsman Michael Bevan, the final stage of the Tour Down Under, and Socceroos striker Mark Viduka red-carded in Leeds' FA Cup game against Gillingham.
For 9 years you've been watching, waiting, believing. Now it all comes down to one episode. 8:30 Wednesday on 10. All will be revealed in a special movie-length series finale.
Where am I? Wrong answer!
This is it.
I'm putting the truth on trial.
There will be no more.
Expose it, Mulder.
The truth.
He's not human.
I want that man examined!
The whole truth.
Now you can die.
And nothing but the truth. The last X-Files ever. 8:30 Wednesday on 10.
Channel 10 and McDonald's deliver the superstars of summer, giving you the chance to win heaps of seriously great prizes all summer long. Call 1902 555 614 for your chance to win either a brand new Hyundai Getz, featuring everything you need to get noticed for this summer, or the Peugeot Speedfight 2 motor scooter to get you on the road or off the beaten track. Tune in to Today FM for the Superstars of Summer combi locations this weekend for lots of summer fun and great giveaways.
This Tuesday's Oz Lotto has jackpotted to $10 million. So you could win a truckload of cash. Don't miss Oz Lotto's $10 million jackpot.
During business hours, he serves you with a smile.
No, I've watched him grow since he was this big.
But after hours, he has you all to himself. Academy Award winner Robin Williams. 1 hour photo.
Buckley's huge furniture clearance is on now. Save up to 50% on dining suites, luxurious leather lounges, and stunning bedroom suites. Everything is marked down by up to 50%. Buckley's huge furniture clearance is on now. Be early.
With every Mother Earth pack you buy, we give a little back to the Worldwide Fund for Nature.
Officeworks, the back-to-school superstore, has guaranteed lowest prices on books, pens, and all your school supplies. Like this display book, 57 cents, and these folders, 67 cents each. Plus, we'll beat any price.
Taking care of business, our choice.
Are your kids struggling with maths? For only $29 a week, Mathemagic is the most effective tuition available. Give your children the edge. Call now for a free demonstration. The Mathemagic tutoring system. Our choice, your choice.
This weather report, proudly brought to you by Debco Saturade.
Just before we go tonight, the latest on the bushfires. The fires in northeastern Victoria have reached villages in the upper snowfields, destroying at least 16 homes and a number of vehicles. A change in the wind tonight has been a dubious blessing. While it's turned the threat from some centres, it's also sending the flames towards other settlements so far spared. But there's also been some happier news, as Max Futcher reports.
One good story tonight is news from Dinner Plain, which is up near Mount Hotham. A crew of firefighters managed to shelter inside their fire truck while the fireball went over the top of them. It melted the paint on their truck, but they hid under blankets and managed to survive. And I'm sure they're enjoying a few lemonades at the Dinner Plain pub tonight.
Some well-deserved lemonades. Now to the national weather details. On the synoptic chart, a trough runs from lows in the west across the centre to the east coast as a high moves across the bight. For tomorrow, Cairns should see the showers ease. Mostly sunny for Townsville and Brisbane, late showers around Sydney. Possible showers for Canberra, clouding in Hobart, showers for Melbourne, clearing showers in Adelaide, sunny for Perth, thunderstorms in the top end and showers around the centre. From the home of the takeaway meal, a competition that brings new meaning to the term fast food. This is the coach of the American pizza tossing team in action, tossing dough, not for money, but for glory. These kings of the kitchen refining their acrobatic pizza moves for the World Championships in Italy later this year. Shoulder rolls, double shoulder rolls, even blindfold throwing, each move topping the last. And that's the latest from the 10 Newsroom. Thanks for your company. Our next national bulletin's at 11:30 in the morning, but stick around now for Sports Tonight with Ryan Phelan. I'm Tracey Spicer from 10's Late News team. Good night.
There are some films that move you in a way you'll never forget.
What happened to your face? I have AIDS.
This is one of them. Tom Hanks, Denzel Washington, Philadelphia, 8:30 Tuesday.
The sun's shining down, we're so desperate to brown. But skin cancer isn't so hot, no it's not. So if you take a run or work in the sun, should you sizzle like a sausage? Most certainly not. Be especially careful about small kitties. Slop, slap, slip on a shirt, slop on sunscreen and slap on a hat. Slip, slop, slap, you can stop skin cancer, slap, slip, slop, slap. Slop, slap, it's so simple. Slip, slop, slap.
Hello, I'm Ryan Phelan. Welcome to Sports Tonight. Ahead, the latest on Michael Bevan and the men's final at the Australian Open. Before we get started, let's check out the Sunday lineup. Today it was showtime on centre court. Andre Agassi and Rainer Schuttler in the men's decider.
He's in the flow now.
A full report on the final day at Melbourne Park is coming up. Incredible at the MCG last night. Shane Warne carried off, but Michael Bevan stretched it off. We'll speak to Bevan shortly and find out the latest on his groin injury. Also, the end of an era in beach volleyball. The end of the road at the Tour Down Under. What happens when you find the wrong side of the road in Monte Carlo? And Mark Viduka on the wrong side of the refs. Sending the sporting globe spinning, this is Sports Tonight. He's not only an awesome player, but the ultimate showman. Andre Agassi brushed aside the Grand Slam dreams of Germany's Rainer Schuttler today in 3 devastating sets. The Australian Open title is Andre's again, and now he's in the pursuit of Leighton Hewitt's #1 world ranking.
Good form.
Having already won 3 Australian Open titles, Andre Agassi was the favourite with the bookmakers and the crowd.
Andre Agassi.
The question was always going to be, how was Rainer Schuttler going to handle the occasion in the face of one of the greats of the game? Unfortunately, it was the very first service game that provided the answer with a break.
That's just fantastic.
It wasn't until the 3rd game before Schuttler won his first point of the match.
Give it a nice round of applause as Schuttler puts his arms up. I want a point.
The German was soon on the scoreboard, but Agassi wasn't about to let him off the canvas. The first set to the American 6-2. The second didn't promise anything better for the underdog. Agassi was at his pinpoint best with his power game and his touch.
The master shows how it is done. Exactly.
Starved of success when rallying from the baseline, Schuttler found a little more encouragement at the net.
That is a fantastic drop volley.
The second set was slightly longer than the first, but the result was again a comprehensive 6-2 scoreline. A miracle was required from Schuttler, but what the crowd got was more brilliance from Andre.
Just like that.
Agassi piled on the misery in the closing stages, his dissection of the German serve complete.
He is broken in more ways.
The frustration told on Schuttler, who spent much of the final moments dodging Agassi bullets, but the pain was soon over in just an hour and 16 minutes.
There it is. For the 4th time, the name Andre Agassi will go on the Norman Brooks Challenge Cup.
A 4th Australian Open title to the popular champion.
Hey, I don't talk about your wife. At least as far as you know.
Steffi Graf getting a mention there. A demolition job on Rod Laver Arena. The number 31 seed, no match for the world #2. It's Agassi's 4th Australian Open and his 8th Grand Slam title.
to win down here again was just more than I could dream of. I play the game with urgency when I'm out there. I feel like I can always see what somebody can do. I'm always trying to impose myself, and when I get through it, I'm sort of always somewhat surprised.
Never had the chance to play my game. I was, from the first point on, I was under pressure, and yeah, so I tried to do something special, but it didn't work. And yeah, it was it's a little bit disappointing to play a final and lose easy like that.
Michael Bevan should know within 48 hours if his World Cup campaign is over before it began. Bevan will be out for at least a couple of weeks after injuring his groin last night at the MCG. The Aussies completed a clean sweep over England with a thrilling victory in Game 2. But Bevan's injury was the main talking point. With time running out, the final decision rests with the selectors.
First thing I noticed,
when one-day specialist Michael Bevan crashed to the turf in last night's second final, it appeared his World Cup aspirations had come to an abrupt end.
What it felt like was a real bad cramp, and then when I was on the ground, I sort of knew it wasn't a cramp because I just tried to stretch it out a bit, and it was sort of obviously hurting me a fair bit.
However, the results of scans this morning providing Bevan with a glimmer of hope.
Last night I sort of feared the worst, I guess, and it hurt a fair bit, but it's settled down a lot this morning, and so I'm feeling a lot better this morning.
Bevan's World Cup fate now in the hands of selectors. Trevor Hones and his men desperate for a fully fit squad to complete every aspect of the Australians' World Cup preparations.
Given the fact that it's 2 to 3 weeks, I might only miss one match, maybe 2 matches of the World Cup campaign, so I guess the rest is up to the selectors.
Meanwhile, Brett Lee's 3 wickets in 7 balls, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat last night.
We thought that if we can get it right up there might be a chance. If they miss, hopefully we hit, and it happened tonight.
Lee awarded Man of the Series honours, the 23-year-old stepping up to the plate in the absence of Glenn McGrath and Jason Gillespie.
I like having that extra pressure on me. It's a responsibility that I do like to have, and getting that sort of brand new ball each time, it's like a thrill.
English captain Nasser Hussain again left to defend his players.
And I believe, looking in each player's eye, that every ball of today they were desperate to get to that third final, and for 90% of the game we played better than Australia.
On a positive injury note, Shane Warne's successful recovery continued last night. His final one-day appearance at home leaving him with mixed emotions.
Obviously it's a little bit sad in a way, but I'd like to think I've still got a few good years left in Test cricket and playing for Australia. So, and I haven't finished yet. I've still got a few one-days hopefully in the World Cup.
South Australia have recorded the lowest one-day score of the summer in the ING Cup, an embarrassing 51 runs against Tasmania, chasing 192 for victory. The Redbacks at one stage crashed to 7 for 30 off 19 overs. Darren Lehmann's woes continued, trapped LBW for just 1. The South Australian batsmen were in all sorts of trouble. Opener Greg Blewett, the only player to break into double figures with 13 runs. Tasmania winning easily by 140 runs. A bizarre game, but with one major positive to come out of the match. Jason Gillespie seems to have shrugged off any injury concerns ahead of the World Cup, bowling 10 overs with figures of 1 for 28. And a thrilling finish to the Pira Cup match between New South Wales and Western Australia. The Blues declared this morning at 5 for 316. Michael Clark top scored with 116 and Mark Waugh undefeated on 83. The Warriors were on target until a late collapse engineered by Blues spinners Stuart McGill and Simon Kadich. The Warriors falling an agonising 2 runs short of victory. And more low scores as Queensland thrashed Victoria by 10 wickets in their ING clash. The Bushrangers skittled for 65 in under 2 hours, with Nathan Horrocks and James Hopes taking 3 wickets each. Martin Love and Daniel Payne passing the Victorian tally in the 20th over. This is Sports Tonight. After the break, we'll check out the final stage of the Tour Down Under.
Don't bother trying to tell me your beliefs. Your point of view is pretty screwed to me.
The weather was cooler, but the action was hot. Taking a tumble in the Pro Blade Swoop competition. And Mark Viduka sees red in the FA Cup.
This program proudly brought to you by Suzuki's Mega Summer Clearance.
Can we look at my please?
Want more A-list celebrities?
Yeah, baby.
Need Rove?
What the?
Seriously?
Is this a family show?
Stop going on about that.
Rove returns Feb 11 to 10.
What would you do if you won 1 million cans of Jim Beam and Cola?
Well, I'd get advice immediately, you know, have a bit of fun now, then I'd have to be sensible, you know, put some away for the future. Can you imagine what that'd be worth when I retire?
It's the big white can that makes dreams stay true.
This is the greatest and best rock band in the world. This is Foo Fighters. Foo Fighters, one by one. The only way to rock.
Attention! I just got a Suzuki XL7 for $33,990.
For a deal you'll want to tell the world about, get into Suzuki's Mega Summer Clearance.
It's you, it's me, it's Suzuki.
Channel 10 and McDonald's deliver the superstars of summer, giving you the chance to win all summer long. If it's instant prizes you're after, we've got you covered with Blue Sky Frog cards, IMAX passes, Shakira CDs and Beyblade Tazo tops from Twisties. SMS your name and your postcode to 0421 269 269 for your chance to win. Check out the superstars of summer combis for more details, grab a Coke and other great giveaways. Tune into Today FM for locations this weekend.
Welcome back. It's been an exciting finish to the Tour Down Under. Aussie Graham Brown winning the final stage, but a Spaniard has claimed the overall honours.
A day of national celebration and Stuart O'Grady was out to give the locals more reason to party. But the South Australian with work to do, starting the day 5 seconds behind overnight leader Michael Astaloza going into the final 90 kilometres through the streets of Adelaide. The riders today appreciated the cooler conditions and the lead changed often. Valuable time bonuses up for grabs at the first sprint. AG2R Prevoyance riders featured prominently as they tried to protect the overall lead of teammate Astaloza. Thousands offered support from the sidelines and watched another tight finish in the second sprint as Jan Kersapu prevailed. Aussie Cadell Evans did enough to claim the King of the Mountain title for the second year in a row. Then an exciting last lap with a bunch sprint to the finish. O'Grady needing to finish in the top two to have any chance of winning his third Tour Down Under. But he couldn't match the pace of Graham Brown. The New South Welshman claiming the Tour's final stage, O'Grady in fourth. The overall winner, though, 23-year-old Spaniard Michael Astaloza.
It's the first time I've ever been a leader in a race. I thought I handled it quite well, and I think it was thanks to the team also that knew how to take on the responsibility.
O'Grady was the highest placed Australian and finished his hometown event in third position.
To the Gold Coast and the National Beach Volleyball Championships. Olympic gold medalist Kerry Potthast and Natalie Cook successfully defended their Australian title today. The pair edging out Summer Lokowitz and Kylie Gerlich in what could be their last competition together before Potthast retires to start a family.
I want it all. I want to keep playing. I want to get pregnant and have a baby. I want to have lots of kids. I want to keep playing with Natalie. I don't want her to play with anyone else. I want to play with her forever.
Two-time Olympian Julian Prosser joined with new partner Mark Williams to win the men's division. And in the National Soccer League, the Melbourne Knights have hit back from a week of turmoil to crush the Brisbane Strikers. Without sacked captain and coach Andrew Martha, two dumped senior players, the Knights fired, scoring 5 goals to 1 against the hapless Strikers. Gus Biscay-Zaku hitting the back of the net 3 times. It was the first win as caretaker coach for Knights president Ange Simmerer. And 3 games completing round 19 tonight. Perth extending its lead at the top of the table to 3 points with a 1-1 draw against Sydney United. It just gets worse for bottom-placed Marconi, crashing to the biggest defeat in their history, 7-0 against Parramatta. John Bonavolia scoring 4 goals, the first time a power player has netted a hat-trick. South Melbourne and Wollongong failing to find the target in their clash. Parramatta started its NRL pre-season with a bang last night with a win over Manly in a trial match on the Gold Coast. The Seagulls led by 16-10 at one stage, thanks to a double from centre Albert Torrens. It was all too much for the stadium mascot to bear. Cut it off with a knee injury. In the meantime, the Eels mounted a comeback to win 30-20 thanks to 2 tries to fullback Ronald Prince. And the mascot made a recovery of his own to see out the match. That's good news. Byron Bay surfer Jared Sullivan has celebrated Australia Day with victory in the Brothers Nielsen Pro Junior. The young gun needing at least an 8-point ride to snatch the win, and he got it with just 2 minutes remaining. It was Sullivan's inaugural pro victory win, putting him at the head of the tour rankings. Sunshine co-surfer Ryan Campbell finished second, a mere 2 points behind. New Zealand's Jay Quinn was overall third. The finals of the $10,000 Pro Blade Swoop parachuting competition in Sydney saw a high-speed exit for daredevil Drew Lipinski. He was considered one of the favourites to win before this unbelievable crash landing. Surprisingly, Lipinski escaped injury. It's been 4 days of thrills and spills as several canopy pilots miscued their jumps and missed their mark. Kiwi John King winning the first ever swoop title with his average speed of 81.5 kilometres an hour.
Still to come, hoop action from the NBA. The latest stage of the Monte Carlo Rally. And Mark Viduka sent off as Leeds escape an FA Cup slip-up.
Sometimes life can knock you down, just gotta pick your ass up off the ground, off the ground.
The first step is admitting it.
I'm Ray, and I'm a pessimist.
Hi, Ray.
But old habits die hard.
Sports Writer of the Year. I mean, this is great just to be nominated.
That's what the loser says.
Raymond, Tuesday at 8 on 10. Who brings you genuine all-wheel drive value from just $18,990 drive away, including air, power steering, dual airbags and CD? Daihatsu, the who's who of summer value with huge factory bonuses on 2002 stock.
Suckler, made fresh, so it tastes like pesto was meant to taste. Beautiful. Look out for the authentic Italian Suckler range in your supermarket.
Fast forward to win $50,000 cash only at Network Video. Grab the movie of the week and a vanilla Coke over the 8 weeks of summer and you're in to win. Win $50,000 cash only at Network Video now.
Win a trip to the party event of the year when Midori turns on Kentucky Great Keppel. 50 trips for 2 to be won. Details where you buy Midori.
Rock's brightest hope is a band called Pacifier. The rock album of this or any other year. Pacifier, the new album, in store now.
Who brings you genuine all-wheel drive value from just $18,990 drive away, including air, power steering, dual airbags and CD? Daihatsu, the who's who of summer value with huge factory bonuses on 2002 stock.
In the FA Cup, there was no fairy tale upset for Farnborough Town against Arsenal. The Gunners ruthless in a 5-1 victory. Farnborough began confidently but went behind in the 19th minute when Gunners defender Sol Campbell powered home a header. Francis Jeffers celebrated his 22nd birthday with a second 4 minutes later when he turned in a cross from Tour. It got worse for Farnborough when defender Chris Lee was sent off for pulling back Jeffers, but the non-league team stuck at it, and in the 70th minute, Rocky Baptiste struck. But it was just a consolation, the holders adding 2 more before the final whistle. More problems for Leeds United. Mark Viduka sent off as the Premier League side drew 1-1 with First Division Gillingham in the 4th round of the FA Cup. The result piling on more pressure on Leeds manager Terry Venables.
Terry Venables is hardly short of problems at the moment, so a potential cup upset on a moth-eaten pitch was about the last thing he needed. Gillingham, by contrast, were thoroughly enjoying themselves, and only the Leeds woodwork denied Guy Ipur a first-half opener. It was a miss, though, which was soon made to seem very costly. Alan Smith's impeccable free kick, giving Leeds the advantage, and his manager a rare excuse for celebration. It could have been 2-0 if the quality of Gillingham's defence hadn't been matched by that of Harry Kewell's finish, but what seemed a laughing matter proved anything but, as with 10 minutes to go, the match suddenly flipped on its head. Mark Viduka's elbow on Andy Hessenthaler receiving a straight red card, and just seconds later, the home side's hustling finally took its toll. Mali international Mamadi Sidibe with the richly deserved equaliser to give Gillingham a day to remember, but Leeds yet another one they'd rather forget.
So no fairy tale for Farnborough, beaten 5-1 by holders Arsenal. Dwight York with a 90th minute equaliser for Blackburn. Premier League West Brom knocked out by First Division Watford, and Third Division Rochdale putting out First Division Coventry. In his 1998 farewell season, Michael Jordan left the game on the ultimate high with the winning basket for Chicago in the NBA Finals. The difference now is his Wizards are no Bulls, with Washington today blowing a big lead against Minnesota.
A Michael Jordan steal, the Wizards on a first-half fast break against the T-Wolves. It was a fast break on the scoreboard too. The Wizards up by 15 at half-time. Jerry Stackhouse bagging 16 of his 21 points before the break. The Wizards up by 15. But the third period brought a major reversal. Minnesota snaring 12 of the first 16 points, and by the final stanza they'd won control. The T-Wolves home by 8. A tight one between Miami and Philadelphia. The lead changing 11 times. Philly's Allen Iverson turning the match.
Got it! Brilliantly done by Iverson.
Iverson with the crucial basket 42 seconds from time, snapping a tie and getting Philly onto a roll. The struggling 76ers with just their 5th win from 17 starts. And San Antonio made the league's best defence look pedestrian. Detroit conceding 108 points to the Spurs, though there was the odd bright spot for the Pistons.
And what a pass from Ben Wallace.
San Antonio cruising to a 36-point win. Tim Duncan 22 points, Stephen Jackson 20.
So 108-76 the score there. San Antonio now hit the road for a 9-game away stretch. The other winners, Philadelphia, Minnesota, Atlanta in overtime, Seattle, Milwaukee and Golden State. Dangerously parked spectator cars forced the cancellation of an early stage on day 2 of the Monte Carlo Rally. Disappointment for World Rally champion Marcus Gronholm. The Finn was 20 seconds in front heading into the day before damaging his Peugeot after losing control on the icy road.
Snow part started very bad downhill and just skiing. It was no car control anymore. It was with the slicks on this kind of surface.
Frenchman Sebastien Loeb leading a Citroën 1-2-3 overall. Loeb ahead by just over 1 minute. To golf, and at the Phoenix Open, American Harrison Fraser still in front despite a minor hiccup on the par 4 11th. His trip into the water dropped him into a 3-way tie for the lead midway through the third round. But Fraser finished strongly, grabbing a birdie down the stretch to take a 1-shot lead at 17 under. The Texan is chasing his maiden PGA Tour win. Robert Garmes is 3 shots back after a brilliant 7 under 64, including this monster on 17.
Would you believe it? It's an eagle too. Remarkable.
Rod Pampling is the best of the Aussies at 11 under. Despite bogeying the last 2 holes, Ernie Els still holds a 2-shot lead after the 3rd round of the Singapore Masters. The world number 2 is aiming to win his 4th successive tournament. He shot a 2 under par round of 70 to reach 10 under par for the event. Els looked in control at one stage, opening up a 6-shot lead, but then he dropped shots on 17 and 18. Els' closest challenger is Zhang Lian Wei of China, whose 3rd round 69 included 4 birdies and a bogey. Skiing, and Darren Rowles creating history to become the first American to win a World Cup downhill event at Kitzbühel in Austria. Rowles taming the brutal Hahnenkamm run, considered the most dangerous on the World Cup circuit, to win by just 0.05 of a second from Switzerland's Dieter Kusch. Kitzbühel was the last downhill before next month's World Championships in the Swiss resort of St. Moritz. And in the women's giant slalom in Slovenia, Sweden's defending world slalom champion Anja Pedersen winning for the 2nd week in a row. Pedersen sliding her way to her 9th World Cup career win. Chaos in the snowboard cross World Cup race in Germany with the pile-up in the men's final. Recently crowned French world champion Xavier Delarue had a smooth run, leading from start to finish to move into the overall lead in the World Cup standings. 4 also became 2 in the women's race with more tumbles. Out in front, Olivia Nobbs and Julia Pomolgalski also lost their way. Nobbs, though, quickest to recover, taking the win.